Hello everyone, a very pleasant day to you. President Tinubu confirms with service chiefs as 100 abducted Niger students remain in captivity. Senate to replace paper-based civil records with electronic system to boost national planning. And the federal government shifts fiscal strategy, targets mass savings to tackle rising debt. A very good day to you. Welcome to Impact News Hour on First News Port Harcourt. I am Becky Unsoro. Now the news in details. President Bola Tinubu is currently meeting with all the service chiefs at the State House, Abuja. The high-level closed-door security meeting took place amid rising concerns over the country's internal security situation. The security chiefs, led by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, arrived at the forecourt early in the evening and were promptly ushered into the first-floor office of the President. The engagement followed the swearing-in of General Christopher Musa, retired, as the new Minister of Defense on December 4, 2025, a move that signaled a fresh approach to Nigerian security architecture. While the agenda of the meeting has not been officially disclosed, it is coming at a critical time when over 100 students abducted from a Catholic boarding school in Niger State last November are still being held by their captors, sparking nationwide concern and renewed calls for decisive government action. The meeting also followed President Tinubu's declaration of a national security emergency last month, during which he ordered the immediate recruitment of new personnel into the nation's security agencies. The Senate has thrown its weight behind the introduction of a fuller electronic and integrated civil registration system, describing it as a critical step towards improving national planning, governance, and data-driven decision-making in Nigeria. The position was articulated in Abuja by the chairman of the Senate Committee on National Identity Card and National Population, Senator Victor Ume, during a public hearing organized by the committee. The hearing focused on the proposed legislation seeking to repeal the Birth, Death, and Others Compulsory Registration Act Cap B9 laws of the Federation of Nigerian 2004 and replaced with the Compulsory Civil Registration Act 2025. The bill, sponsored by Senator Ume, aims to establish an electronic civil registration framework in line with global best practices. Speaking at the event, the senator said Nigeria could no longer afford to operate a fragmented and paper-based civil registration system in an era of digital governance. He stressed that accurate and comprehensive records of birth and death are essential for credible population data, effective national development planning, and transparent governance. The federal government has formally signaled a major shift in fiscal strategy, declaring that it would move away from heavy dependence on borrowing and instead mobilize mass savings across the country as a sustainable way of tackling Nigerians' rising debt burden. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Wale Edun, who disclosed the new strategy during an interactive section on the 2026 to 2028 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework (MTEF) and Fiscal Strategy Paper (FSP), organized by Senate Committee on Finance and the National Assembly, said the new direction was imperative in view of President's revenue shortfalls, mounting fiscal pressures, and the need to strengthen domestic capital formation without further ballooning public debts. According to him, Nigerians' total public debt has risen about 152 trillion naira from approximately 70 trillion naira in 2023, but a substantial part of the increase was not the result of fresh borrowing. He explained that approximately 30 trillion naira of the debt stock originated from the formal recognition and regularization of ways and means financing previously kept outside government accounts, while nearly 50 trillion naira resulted from exchange rate adjustments following central bank reforms to clear foreign exchange backlogs and rebuild external reserves. Moving on, the minister stressed that the focus of the MTEF was no longer on expanding borrowing, but on strengthening revenue mobilization, fiscal discipline, and long-term sustainability. He acknowledged that revenue performance had consistently fallen short of projection, putting severe pressure on budget implementation. Moving on, Rivers State Governor Sir Siminalayi Fubara has inaugurated Phase 1 of the Greater Taff City Housing Estate, despite over 90 legislations instituted to stall the project. The housing estate, developed under the Greater Port Harcourt City Development Authority, forms part of the Fubara administration's strategy to decongest Port Harcourt and expand access to affordable housing for middle-income earners. Speaking at the inauguration, Governor Fubara described the project as a bold vision conceived during one of the most challenging periods of his administration. According to the governor, the project was deliberately targeted with legal actions aimed at frustrating its completion. He said the commissioning of Phase 1 affirms his administration's resolve to deliver 1,000 housing units at the first phase of a broader 20,000-unit housing plan. Moving on, Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule has received Dr. Maria Antonio, Governor of Bengo Province, Angola, on an official visit targeted at cementing and tightened bilateral agreements in major sectors like agriculture and education between the state and the province. Governor Sule, while speaking at the event in Lafia, he appreciated the Governor of Bengo Province, Angola, Ambassador to Nigeria, Dr. Jose Bamakwina Zau, and members of their entourage to the state. According to him, the delegation from the state visited Angola in September, and the delegation from the province returned the visit 3 months later to finalize the agreement for onward implementation, benefiting both the state and the province. Governor Sule, however, applauded the ambassador for his foresight and dedication to ensuring the relationship comes to fruition during this visit. The governor further narrated that the state government has gotten the approval from the Ministry of External Affairs to sign the Memorandum of Understanding and maintained that the agreement was part of its efforts to internationalize the state's economic prospects and attract foreign direct investment. We now move on to security matters. The Nigerian Police Force, NPF, on Monday said enforcement of the tinted glass permit policy will resume on January 2, 2026. First spokesperson Benjamin Hundeyin, who announced this in a statement citing a surge in vehicle-related crimes, said the decision follows a careful review of emerging security concerns and the need to ensure the safety of all citizens. While clarifying that no court order has restrained the police from enforcing the law on tinted glasses, the force spokesman said police authorities had voluntarily suspended enforcement after a court matter in October to give motorists time to regularize their documents. He quoted that Inspector General Police IGP Kayode Egbetokun as assuring that enforcement will be conducted professionally with respect for citizens' rights in line with the law, while calling on motorists needing permits to apply through approved channels to ensure compliance. Moving on, the Rivers State Police Command has disclosed the arrest of 9 suspects in connection with alleged robbery incidents that occurred at Dr. Obi Wale Cultural Center and Totino Feeding Station in Port Harcourt recently. The State Police spokesperson Grace Irenge Koko, who reviewed the achievement in a statement newsman, said the command arrested 5 suspects within Diob Axis of Port Harcourt City. Irenge Koko also revealed that the command had arrested 4 of the suspects who helped in investigation linking to the arrest of the current 5 suspects in the alleged crime. The police spokesperson stated the names of the suspects to include Victor Ukabi, 41, a native of Mpa in Bende, local government of Abia State, Basil Nwagezie, 65, hails from Eziobodo in Owerri West, local government area of Imo State, and Nkechinyere Wokem, 30, from Imbise, local government area of Imo State, who is a POS operator. Others are Obinna Nwakwo, 44, a native of Umaji Uleke, Omuma local government area of Rivers State, and Igwe Eze, 51, from Osofia in Aguta local government area of Anambra State, who is a receiver of the stolen items. She recalled that the gang's leader, Bright Umaboeze, also known as Bishop, 53 years old, was intercepted and arrested at the Rumokoro flyover with 2 rifles found in his car. Moving on, fear has gripped several communities in Kano State following fresh attack by bandits and kidnappers in Zurin Mahuta village, Kwazo local government area close to the Katsina state border. The assailants, who reportedly arrived in large numbers on motorcycles late Sunday night, stormed the village fringe sporadically before abducting 7 residents. Reports indicated that the attackers operated swiftly and confidently, overwhelming the community before fleeing with their victims to an undisclosed location. Confirming the incident, the village head of Zurin Mahuta, Mai Ugwa Mutala, described the attack as shocking and deeply unsettling for residents. He said security operatives responded promptly to the distress calls and arrived at the scene in the time to prevent further casualties and escalation. According to him, security agencies have since launched a manhunt for the attackers, assuring residents that efforts are ongoing to rescue the abducted victims and restore calm to the area. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has faulted the Supreme Court's judgment, affirming the president's powers to declare a state of emergency and suspend elected officials in any party of the country. PDP, in a statement by its spokesman, Obong, described the apex court's ruling as a dangerous democratic bend with far-reaching implications for federalism and constitutional governance. It said the outcome of the case and the judgment was dangerous to the sustenance of democracy, as it gave a legal tooth to the emergency rule declared in Rivers State and the suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the State House of Assembly for 6 months. The suit challenged the power of the president to suspend democratically elected officials like the governor and deputy governor and democratic institutions such as the Rivers State House of Assembly. The party argued that the decision of the court seemed to justify emergency rule where it was not implemented in compliance with 1999 Constitution as amended, thereby giving the president the power to suspend the governor at the slightest provocation. Obong asked the National Assembly to urgently initiate constitutional and legislative safeguards to clearly define and limit the scope of the president's emergency powers to prevent imminent abuse and preserve Nigerians' federation. Moving on to the foreign scene, the Rebel Coalition Alliance Fleuve Congo, AFC/M23, has announced a conditional withdrawal of its fighters from the strategic city of Uvira in South Kivu province in a significant development in the long-running conflict in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. The move follows intense international pressure, particularly from the United States and other partners, urging all parties to uphold recently brokered peace arrangements and avoid further bloodshed. In a statement on social media, the group framed the decision as a step towards strengthening dialogue and revitalizing peace talks. Uvira has been a flashpoint in the conflict, with the M23 coalition earlier capturing the city and exacerbating tensions despite a U.S.-mediated agreement signed by the presidents of Congo and Rwanda in early December that aimed to curb violence. The offensive had displaced large numbers of civilians and shocked the region by defying those peace commitments. Moving on, the U.S. military says it has carried out strikes on 3 boats it has accused of trafficking drugs in the Pacific Ocean, killing 8 people. The U.S. Southern Command posted footage of the strikes on social media and said the vessels were transiting along non-narco trafficking routes and were engaged in narco trafficking. More than 20 vessels in the Pacific and the Caribbean have been targeted in recent months, killing at least 90 people as part of the President Donald Trump's escalating campaign against gangs he accuses of transporting drugs into the region. And now on sports. Ryan Alebiosu says he is delighted with the maiden invitation to the Super Eagles. The 23-year-old was named the Nigerian squad for the 2025 African Cup of Nations by head coach Eric Churl. Alebiosu has impressed for Sky Bet Championship club Blackburn Rovers this season. The right back is expected to play a key role for Nigeria in Morocco in the absence of Ola Aina. Alebiosu said he cannot wait to make his debut for the three-time African champions. Former Nigerian international Yakubu Ayegbemi says the current Super Eagles team is made up too many defensive midfielders, posting the reason they struggle to dominate matches. Super Eagles head coach Eric Churl called up 8 midfielders in his final 28-man squad for the 2025 African Cup of Nations in Morocco. The midfielders selected are Alex Iwobi, Frank Onyeka, Wilfred Ndidi, Raphael Onyedika, Tochukwu Nnadi, Fisayo Dede Bashiru, Ebenezer Akinsamiro, and Usman Muhammad. Meanwhile, 22 players are currently in the Super Eagles squad in their Cairo, Egypt camp ahead of the AFCON. As part of preparation for the AFCON, the Super Eagles will take on Egypt in an international friendly today. There are reports in Egypt that Liverpool star Mohamed Salah could miss a friendly with Super Eagles as he could be rested. That's all on the news this hour. I am Becky Usor. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.